there's a great and tender feel for both Olivier and Marilyn Monroe and the period. But I found that it was, to my surprise, not only a sort of insight into the sort of crazy and chaotic world of producing art or making films, it was also a page-turner. I did want to know what happened next. Anyway, the long and the short of it was, I found the opportunity to play this particular fictional evocation of Sir Laurence Olivier on the page in this script with this group of people and Simon Curtis directing to be finally irresistible. So I was very, very pleased to be able to do it. She, I think, is really remarkable as Marilyn. There was a moment when Elaine, the original script supervisor from The Prince and the Showgirl, 50 years previously, was sitting next to me on the set at Pinewood, on the same soundstage, looking at the same set that 50 years previously, as a obviously much younger woman, she had been next to Laurence Olivier, waiting for Marilyn Monroe to arrive. And the door in the corner of the soundstage opened and backlit and as a silhouette, but unmistakable in this tight sheath-like beautiful dress with this sort of bouffant blonde hair, there was Marilyn Monroe / Michelle Williams, and Elaine, who was there and knew and had seen the real person, grabbed me by the arm and went, "Oh my God, oh my God." And it was a sort of chill-inducing moment as she walked slowly, wrigglingly in this very sexy, restrictive, but also, you know, very becoming dress. And I think visually she went to great pains to get it just right. Wonderful team around her helping do that. Vocally, again, she was constantly vigilant to try and get that very specific. So I think that she's caught something, Marilyn, I think, very, very beautifully. Simon Curtis has wonderful energy, great intelligence and perception. He's not afraid to give notes, and he has compassion for the actors. He understands about actors. He has great sympathy for them. He was very, very accommodating for specific requests I had about when I preferred to shoot my close-ups and things. I like to do it sooner rather than later. He was very kind about that. He creates a rhythm in the day that's very friendly towards the performers. But he had a great feel for the story. You know, you felt that his bones were in it. He really had been with the script for quite some time. He had great detail. He was able to point me in the direction of quite new, interesting insights into these much written about characters, both Olivier and Monroe. You need an actor who is charming, Eddie Redmayne for sure, beautiful, he's also a very, very handsome man, and he has great sort of sensitivity, great compassion, wonderful sort of tenderness, capacity for tenderness. So you did feel as he looked at Marilyn, you know, just the sort of ache of this young man's longing to be close, to be a friend to someone that glamorous, that amazing, and that lonely. They were beautiful, innocent fairy tale eyes through which to see this, this process. At the end of a kind of fairy tale moment in English history, socially the world, and England certainly was about to change forever. The theatrically Look Back in Anger had just opened at the Royal Court. That was going to change the face of British theatre. Rock and roll was about to change the face of music. Sex was about to appear in most people's lives, in advertising, in music, in films, in a way that it had never done before. The world would be loosening its tie. And just for a moment before all that happened, there was a little corner of charm working its complicated way out in a part of the British film industry that this young man saw, and he saw it enacted by a titan of the British stage and a Hollywood icon. And it was a sort of a rather tender and touching and often very, very humorous battle. as professionals, there was this dance, this love affair, this romance, often very, very barbed, but it came from a place of mutual respect. I think that he understood that she was a sublime comedienne. And in the end, I think, in the film, he concedes, I think, outshines him with the effortlessness of her simple comedy. A comedy not simply achieved, but the effect is simple and beautiful, and of course innocent and vulnerable and marvelous. He's still utterly, utterly magnetic and brilliant to watch. But he's generous about her, and you somehow can feel, in the way he looks at her sometimes, a man who doesn't understand her, but my God, does he admire her.